What's going on, everyone? So, as you know, if you have any questions, I'm gonna go on the chat and answer some of your questions. So, what's the topic of today? So, obviously, the topic has to do on how can you double your income next year, 2022, and let's focus on the Cisco CCNA and the Cisco CCNP certifications. So, that's a conversation that I want to have with you today. And yes, there is a way on how can you double your income. And obviously, I'm gonna go on how can you do that. And obviously, I'm gonna go through some scenarios and see which out of the scenarios that I'm gonna go through apply to you. Okay. And once again, just have that in mind. What would you do in your life if you're able to double your income? Like, really think about that, right? Because I know probably you're going through something right now that has to do with money financially. And I know that there are problems that you have right now that if you have that money in your bank account, you will be able to get rid of those problems. So once again, just imagine that you're able to double your income. And many students have done that. So let me kind of walk you through on how can you do that based on the Cisco CCNA and obviously the Cisco CCNP. Now, before I get to some of the scenarios, I want to be clear on something. And this is based on some of people reaching out asking, Jorge, do I really need to get my Cisco CCNA when I can just go after my Cisco CCNP? Because obviously things change, right? A few years back, that you no longer have to have the CCNA in order for you to get your Cisco CCNP. And I get it. It kind of makes sense, right? So might as well go all the way to the CCNP. Why even bother to get the CCNA if I don't have to? Well, you do have to get it, but only if. And that's how I want to start this conversation, okay? And I know probably this may apply to you, but here we go, okay? I only advise people not to take that CCNA, okay? I only advise people not to take the CCNA if they already have a job in IT, and that job they have, that title they have, the experience they may have, even though it's for a few months, okay, not years, even few months, has to do with admin work, maybe engineer, a role position. Because yes, there are many people out there, they have an admin position. That can be a network analyst, a network admin, a system admin, or probably they're already on that system, maybe network engineer position. So again, if you have that title, okay, and if you have some of experience working on some of those jobs, you do not need to get your Cisco CCNA. Might as well go to the CCNP, okay? Now, let's say that you are completely new in IT, like totally new, right? You're looking to get your first job in IT. Or you probably have a job in IT, but that job that you have now, it's an entry-level job. And that has to do with the help desk, service desk, field services, even desktop support. Yes, I do think many, not all, but many desktop supports are entry-level jobs, okay? Now, if you have any of those jobs, yes, you have to get your Cisco CCNA, okay? So now I'm going to go through some scenarios on how can you double your income. And again, I know probably I'm going to get to the one that apply to you, okay? So I'm going to run to some of them. But I'm going to take a minute just to see some questions that you may have. I'm just going to go through your comments. So what's going on, everyone? Thank you for obviously joining. So IT support engineer. So I see someone that has an IT support engineer position. Well, that all depends on how long you've been working in IT and how long you've been working on that specific position. Okay, let's see. Okay, so now once again, my advice is for you not to take the CCNA if you already have a job in IT and that job that you have it's an admin or engineer level position. If you already have that, that's no need for you to get your Cisco CCNA. Go all the way to get your Cisco CCNP. Now, if you do not have a job in IT or you have an entry level job, my advice is for you to obviously get your Cisco CCNA. Now, regardless of you going after the Cisco CCNA or probably because you already have a job in IT that's some type of an admin engineer level position, and now you're gonna go after your CCNP because you want to become a network engineer, let's say, or go to a senior network engineer position. Listen to this. before you go on that process, and this is something that I've been saying a long time, a few years now, you better take the time, and that means a few weeks, maybe a week, maybe two, but take a few weeks and dedicate that time for you to learn the process and how to learn, because you need to know how you need to go through any videos that you are about to go through for your studies on the Cisco CCNA or Cisco CCNP. You need to know how to go through those videos. You need to know how to go through a book, a PDF. You need to know how to do research online, and you need to know how to do the hands-on, the labs that you are going to do when you get your Cisco CCNA or your CCNP. You see, there's a very effective way on how can you do that, and that comes down to if you know how to learn, go through information. So that's my advice. That's the first thing that I will ask you to do. Take a week, maybe two, maybe 3 weeks, and only do that. Only do that one thing, because that's something I'm telling you that it's gonna take you a lot more far in your IT career than anything else. Know how to learn, because once you know how to do that, exactly what I tell my students, let's go through the process of learning how to learn, and obviously you have to practice on that, but eventually you get to a point that you're really good at, and then you can go to the next level. What's the next level? For you to be able to go through information fast. Many people are unable to do that. So let's just say that I give you a topic right now, a topic that is completely new to you, okay? A technical topic. And let's say that topic, I give you some type of content. Let's say 30-minute, one video content, right? And I tell you, okay, I'm going to give you an hour. So you can go through probably this video, this content twice. But you have to teach it to someone else. You have to present it to someone else as soon as you're done with it. And you have to present it without having notes in front of you. And you have to present it, you have to teach it to other people in a way that they can think of you, that this is something that you know for a long time. This is something that you already have that experience working on, without they noticing that that's probably something they just barely know. If you cannot do that, that means that you have no idea on how to go through and learn information. And that's my advice. And I really hope some of you really take on that advice. If not, you're going to be like most people. You will have no fucking idea on how to answer a technical question and how to communicate very effectively with other people. I'm telling you. Now, let's go here, okay? Now, let's talk about some of those scenarios, okay? And I'm gonna go based on some of those topics too, okay? But let me go through some of the scenarios and how, because the topic is how can you double up in IT? You probably at the same time, I want to double my income. If I'm earning, let's say, $40,000 on chat that I have that has nothing to do with IT, obviously, okay? So once again, listen now, because some scenarios, and I know probably gonna get to the one that you are right now, okay? So step number one, okay? And this is obviously for you that are completely new in IT. And I'll go through this really quick, okay? How long it should take if you do the work. And what does that mean? You see, I can give you a detailed plan of action and exactly what you, not what someone else. Let's say that I sit down with you and we go through and exactly what you need to do based on where you are right now. Now you know better than most people on what to do, what not to do, what to focus on, what not to focus on. But now let me ask you this. Is that person that you are right now, who you are, will allow and do those things that now you know you have to do? Or will you come out with an excuse? Or will you be like, oh, I know better. I don't have to do this, or I don't have to do that. I'm just going to only do these few things, and I'm going to do some other things that I think that will help me. You see, that mindset, that thinking, it will not take you from point A, where you are, to point B. In this case, you're getting your first job in IT sooner than later. And I see this happening with some of my students. Some of them take a long time for them to make that happen. Some others, they get it done in 3, no more than 4 months. So what's the difference? Obviously, one, they are more committed, disciplined to get it done. And they only go through that process based on, this is exactly the only things I have to do. And that's it, nothing else. You just focus on that and you get it done. So 3 4 months, again, 3 4 months, you get your first job in IT. Now, depending on where you are, location, that can be for you to probably get a job that's gonna pay you 60,000. Maybe you're in a good location, those high end cities, where obviously the living it's higher, the cost. Then you can probably get a job that's gonna pay you $75,000. So 60 to 75. That's step number one. And having in mind, and something that I've been saying for a long time, not an entry level job. You do not, for any reason, get an entry level job, even though your best friend tell you that's the way you do it, because probably that best friend works in IT, right? Or you probably have someone that you look up to, and they say, well, you have to start with an entry level job. No, you don't. No, you don't. Okay. So step number one is about 3 4 months going all in, know exactly what you need to do, and get your first job in IT, not an entry level job. 3 4 months. Now, once you get the job, obviously you will know better on what to do next, because obviously you end up getting that job by doing the right things. And now you know you have to do, and then you're going to continually educate yourself on those things on top of obviously learning other technical topics, maybe getting another IT certification. But you know how to approach your IT career in a way that once you get your first job, you go on for 4, maybe 6 months, and then move on to the next job. The next job is gonna pay you $30,000 more, maybe 25, maybe up to 40. Because I seen this happening with some students, and again, that all depends. Some of them go up to $25,000 more. Some others have gone all the way to $40,000 more. So you see, that's a big difference, right? But again, it really comes down to you based on the skills that you end up learning and how effectively you're going to communicate that way, and how you're going to storytell, the way that you're going to connect with people, for people to engage with you, for them to like you, for people to see that you can get the job done, for people to see that you have value to offer, because most people don't know how to do that, how to go through their IT career and be able to position themselves that way. Okay. And again, a lot of it has to do on some other skills that has nothing to do with IT. But there's a scenario number one. That's how you double your income. So if you have a job that's paying you probably like $30,000, $40,000, by the end of next year, you were able to double your income. And the first step is, yes, get the CCNA the right way and learn other skills not related to IT. Okay. So, and that's how you go and get to a point where by the end of next year, you get to 85, 100K. Because once again, students have done that. They get their first job. Few months later, they end up getting 30, 40K more, because they know how to approach the process. They know exactly what they need to do, who they need to become, and how to become that. Okay. So that's a scenario number one. Okay. Now, let's say that now you have a job in IT, and let's say that job that you have right now, it's an okay job, and you've probably been on that job for maybe 6 months. Maybe you've been in that job for maybe 3 years. It doesn't matter. 6 months, 3 years, it doesn't matter. Okay. Now, let's say that job, it's again like a good job, probably that can be an entry level job or some type of an admin level job, right? Maybe you're getting paid about 60, 70, even $80,000. So how can you double your income next year? And once again, I've seen this happen with many of my students. But once again, this doesn't happen to all of them. Why? Because once again, the process works if only you follow the process to the T. That means, one, you are committed and dedicated to get it done without coming up with no excuses, and obviously trusting the process and the things that you need to focus on, learn. Then many of those things have nothing to do with the next technology, because that's the thing. Many people focus on, you know what? I'm going to get, I'm going to study Python. I'm going to study Kubernetes. A lot of the topics related to automation, because that's, big right now. But I'm going to also study about, Active Directory. I'm going to go deep on that. I'm going to go on AWS, Azure. I'm going to go on firewalls, Palo Alto, maybe the ASA from Cisco. Or you know what? There is so many things that you can go on. But you see, that's not you being effective. That's you being all over the fucking place. And I went through this process with some of my students, okay? And I demonstrated live in one of the coaching calls that I had with them. And I will tell you what happened. So we went through this process of, let's say that I just got my Cisco CCNA. Let's just say that I just got my Cisco CCNA, right? And I'm like, okay, and let's say that I'm in New Jersey. So let's go on New Jersey and look for those jobs out there that are looking for someone that have the CCNA. They are not entry-level jobs, but obviously they're not high-paying jobs in IT. They're more like admin positions, analyst positions, right? Something that can pay me 60, 75K. So I go in New Jersey, right? And then I go through those jobs and I go through this process to find out, okay, what are the top 2 things I need on top of my Cisco CCNA based on what I have learned on my Cisco CCNA. So again, what are the other top 2, not 5, not 3, no, what are the top 2 other technologies I need to know, learn, probably another certification I need to get in order for me to get to that job, be on my way to get that job. And then we come out with the 2 topics, that 2 technologies, right? And again, that's based on New Jersey. Then I go to Chicago, right, where I live. I'm like, okay, I just got my CCNA, again, completely new in IT. So let me do the same research and let me go through the same process. And I demonstrated that in the coaching call with my students. And we find out that the 2 things that were needed in Chicago were not the same 2 things needed in New Jersey. Now, that says a lot, and that proves many of my points. That maybe you come up with someone, and that person have probably a high-paying job in IT, and that person probably advise you, you know, you need to focus right now in AWS, and you have to learn about Linux. It goes along with one another. So that's exactly what you need to do in order for you to get a high-paying job in IT. And then you go based on that, right? Or now you can go on YouTube, right? And probably they're gonna say, well, once you get your CCNA, go after your CCNP, and then learn about Kubernetes, right? So I'm like, okay, so I have someone with a high-paying job in IT telling me these 2 things, AWS and Linux. But then I have someone else that I follow on YouTube that says, after CCNA, do Kubernetes and get the CCNP. Okay, well, you know, let me go for more advice. So I reach out to someone else, again, a senior level engineer. And I go on about like, same question, you know, I don't know what to do next. I have my CCNA, I'm looking for my first job in IT. I don't know, too many options out there. They can probably, you know what? If you learn Python, man, you're going to be able to get a high-paying job in IT just like that, because that's a lot of need for people that know Python. And by the way, Azure, that's right now many companies looking for Azure. So at that point, you're fucking confused, right? Because I'm like, okay, so what am I supposed to do? I have 3 people that I look up to, the 3 people that I see they have results, you know, they have things going on, but each one of them says totally different things. So what the hell? Am I supposed to know everything now? Let me go through all of it? Obviously, no. But you see, no one come to you and tell you like the things that I will tell you. You do not go based on what other people say and what's next for you. You need to be not lazy and look for other people for them to think for you. You need to take the time and do some market research based on where you are. And there is a process on how to do that. That way, you only focus on only the things that will allow you for you to have the value they can put you in the market that the market needs based on where you are. And that's a lot easier for you to be able, in this case, again, go after either your first job in IT or the next job in IT. But you see, many people don't know that. And it's common sense, right? Now that I probably told you, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Of course, it makes sense, right? But why it didn't kind of went through your mind first? Because again, you go based on what other people are doing. And that's obviously no bueno. No bueno at all. Okay? So, so going back on the topic and how to double your income based on the Cisco CCNA and the Cisco CCNP. Okay? It's not, once again, that difficult, because next year you can go after and get 2 jobs. That means you get the next job for you, and that can be your first job in IT or the next job in IT. And it shouldn't take more than 3 or 4 months. Like, really, it shouldn't fucking take you more than 3 or 4 months. And if someone else told you something differently, they got it wrong. They have the wrong beliefs. They have the wrong story. And that's something, again, that I talked about last night. You need to, right now, take some time and really question the story that you have about you, about why not you being able to double your income next year. What are the beliefs too that are making you think that it's not possible? It's bullshit. I don't think it's gonna happen to me. Like, what are the story and beliefs that again are holding you back? No one is holding you back for yourself, right? If someone come up to me and says, Jorge, can you get a job next year? Because I still have a full-time job in IT. If they say, Jorge, can you get a job in IT that can pay you $40,000 more? $40,000 more in the next 4 or 5 months. Yes, without a doubt. But why? Because I know exactly what I need to do in the next 4-5 months. Obviously, me doing Network Engineer Academy, doing this calls with you, will probably take me about 6 months. Why? Because I have to now divide my time to do this, right? Network Engineer Academy, and I have the time to do the other things. But if you don't have nothing else going on, it shouldn't take you more than 3 and 4 months. That's obviously if you have the time. What does that mean, the time? Do you have about 20 hours per week? Then you can get it done in the next 3, no more than 4 months. And that's when you get in the next job or your first job in IT. And obviously you continually educate yourself for another 6-7 months. Well, Jorge, I think it looks bad if I go to the next job and I stay there for 6-7 months, even if it's a contract, even worse, if it's a full-time position, right? I mean, I need to be there for 1 or 2 years, maybe. Who told you that bullshit? Who told you that bullshit? Oh, should I just look for me? I don't know, man. I wanted to get a promotion in my job. No. Who the hell told you that it's better to get a promotion in your job? No, you get a promotion yourself by going somewhere else where they're going to value more about what you have learned, about what you have gone through those last few months that allow you for you to become more valuable to the marketplace. Because your employer is not going to recognize that. That's how it works. You need to face the reality of things. Okay? So I'm going to go through now. Let's see. And no, I see some people in Switzerland. It's not tough. Yes, it's probably less jobs, but still, when you know how to position, when you know what to do, you completely differentiate yourself from everyone else that is doing the same things that you're doing. So don't think because you have 5 IT certifications, that means you're going to be the one. That means they're going to give you the job. No. And really, guys, come on, right? I don't want to get out of the topic that I'm talking about, but I can go on and on this topic about most people right now know that you memorize the questions on any exam that you have. If we go back 10 years, certifications were more valuable. Yes, they were more valuable. But right now, even people that there are not, let's say, engineers, recruiters, people from HR, they have some experience hiring people in IT. Managers that work in IT, but because obviously many managers that work in IT, they never went through the process to work hands-on. It was always some type of a management position. So they never got any IT certifications. But even they know too that most people memorize the questions of any exam. So when you have 3, 5, 7 IT certifications, don't think that people are gonna think of you that you're smart or that you're badass. A lot of people are gonna think, oh, we have another fucking guy that end up memorizing the fucking questions for him to think he's a badass when he's really not. And I'm just gonna ask him 2 fucking basic questions and he will have no fucking idea on how to answer those questions. You see? I'm telling you. So this is the reason why, I'm really giving you information, guys, for you to think, for you to question yourself. Because once again, right, next year, 2022, next fucking year, not just you, but your family, your kids, if you have any, deserve a better You. And if you think that you cannot go through the year next year the way you did this year, there gonna be better things happening to you. Not. And I know there are few, not that many, but there are few people that was a good year this year, you know. But even though for those they end up making a good year out of 2021, the next year can be a lot better, because that's the thing about us humans. We have the option to grow, and how fast, it all depends on us, based on the time that we dedicate and the growth that we want to have. But you see, most people don't do that. Most people go through life in autopilot, having no fucking idea on what's going on. You see, I got someone reaching out to me. They end up applying for that coaching program. And we were texting back and forth today. I'm not going to mention the name because I don't know if you're listening. But he's like, Jorge, I've been working in IT since 2001, 2002. Okay, and what job do you have? Some type of like mid-level position. And I've been earning $70,000 or $75,000. I'm like, bro, you've been in IT for almost 20 fucking years, earning $70,000. Now you think, and you going on Udemy, you think that you're just getting another IT certification that's gonna fucking change things for you? Don't you think that it's been 20 years? And that's obviously something that you don't know. So obviously, sometimes we need that type of guidance. We need some type of a mentorship. They can point us to the right direction. And obviously, not someone that's gonna do the fucking work for you, but someone is gonna guide you through. And again, you see, when you go through a process with me, I hold you accountable. And what that means, like, I reach out to you and I remind you about what's going on. How is it other students are doing better than you if they're going through the same process as you? Now, what's your excuse? Now, what's the reason on what's going on right now that that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing? And they get back in the game, and they were able to come back and make it happen. So you see, sometimes we need that push. And the other thing is, once again, that I can go in on every video. And I know probably for some of you that have been listening to me for a while, you're like, Jorge, you said this a lot, many of the times. Okay, but is that something that you're doing? This is not about common practice. It's about common sense. Or it's not about common sense, it's more about common practice. Are you really doing that? Because once again, you need to look for that next version of you. You need to look for the next version of you. Because if I come up to you right now and I ask you, what's costing you now for you to have that job that you want? Really, what's costing you right now with yourself, your confidence, self-esteem, with your family? What's costing you and you not having the job that you want? And this is, again, another thing that I've been saying for so long. You have a good job in IT when you get to a job that's going to pay you more than 120,000. Many people think, oh, I got a job that pay me 100K. It's a 6-figure job. I'm like, holy shit, man. Like how the economy is, man, you're broke. You're broke. What do you mean, Jorge? Not that many people earn 100K. Well, don't look at those that don't earn 100K. Look at those that earn a lot more than you. Why you compare with people that are inferior than you? Why not compare yourself with people that are doing better than you? That way you push yourself to get to that level compared to, oh, I'm doing better than my friends, so I'm good. I'm good. No, right? So this is exactly what I tell my students. You do not stop until you get to a job that's going to pay you $120,000. Once you get a job in IT that's going to pay you $120,000, now you can say that you have a good, I didn't say a badass job, I didn't say a great job. No, a good job, just a good job in IT. You have a career going on right there. Now you have a job that's paying you not really well, not like great, but it's paying you good, $120,000. Now, if you don't have the standards at that level, you're doing it wrong. So you see, at that point, it had nothing to do with the IT certification. It has to do with what you're thinking. You know, with the people you associate yourself, they probably put things in your mind without you realizing that, right? Okay, let's see, go through some of these comments. Any questions, guys? Is the MTA Windows Server Administrator exam worth taking? No. Not at all. So don't take any MT. I don't even know if they still have those certifications. Those are, you see, many people want to get like the A plus, some of the Microsoft MT8 certifications just to feel good about themselves. But at the end of the day, this is not going to make a difference. At the end of the day, it's not going to make a difference. You know, I remember having a conversation with a few people. We were having a conference call, and I took the opportunity because there were our team and there were other team because we're emerging on this one company. And I'm like, if you don't mind asking now that we're talking about anything, what do you think about people that want to start their IT career with an A plus? Do you think they need it? And the majority of people are like, no, because once you get to like a network system senior engineer level position, you don't need to know how to fix a fucking computer. You don't need to know if that computer is not working. That's the reason why you just swap it and then help desk to fucking, or desktop support to fucking fix it. And you see, you have many people in the IT community like, oh, but what about if one day, you know, you cannot connect probably, I don't know, to one of the applications and you're going to look dumb because now you're engineer, but you don't know how to do those few things because that's not your fucking job. You have to get paid based on the value that you have to offer. And let me tell you, the value in you being able to change a power supply, a motherboard of a computer, change the CPU, you know, upgrade the RAM from fucking 64 to 128. That's no value, no, at all. Anybody can do that, right? So it's the same thing. Oh, how to like all this bullshit that really it's not really needed. Bring the value in order for someone to pay you really well. I'm telling you. Okay. So what exams are we taking? So you see, guys, and remember what I've been telling you for a long time. And this goes once again based on, you know, Jorge, I want to become a cloud engineer, senior. Like I want to go all the way to the top, cloud. Or you know what? I want to do cyber security. Now let me stop right there. Many people, and I hope this is not you, many people want to do cyber security because it sounds so cool, right? It's a trend. Oh man, I'm a cyber security engineer. Whoa, wow, it sounds badass. You know, that's many jobs out there, and many more jobs are gonna come up in the next few years. Cyber security engineer, holy shit. And then I ask, do you know what they do? Do you have any idea what they do, the things they do, study, work on? Any idea? And most, not all, but most people I ask that question, they want to become cybersecurity engineers, have no fucking idea. And then I'm like, how is that you want to become a cybersecurity engineer when you have no fucking idea on exactly what that is? Oh, it's a good question. Like, really? Like, come on. Really, we have to go to the basics, right? And that's many people that way. I'm telling you, there's so many people that way. But again, going back on, I want to be a DevOps engineer. I want to be a cloud engineer, network system engineer. I want to be a cybersecurity engineer, all the way to those high-paying jobs. You know, those high-paying jobs. How can I start? And I tell them, I don't care that the career you want to do, based on the ones that I mentioned. You always do the same thing when you go and get your first job in IT, right? A job is not an entry-level job. A job is going to give you some access, hands-on opportunities for you to do things, learn related to networking. And from that point, again, you can be there 6 months, 9 months, a year. It's up to you. I will not be more than 6 months if I start my IT career. And then I will learn as much as possible. Obviously, on top of that, I will go back home and I will continually educate myself based on the things that I want to focus on. Because from that point, now that you have a job in IT, you know, it can be a network analyst position. It doesn't matter. From that job, you can go to cybersecurity. From that job, you can go to cloud engineer. From that job, you can go on DevOps engineer. From that job, you can go to a network engineer. It doesn't matter. You just need to have that foundation. You see, many people think of it like, okay, I want to be a cloud engineer, so let me go after cloud, the CompTIA Cloud Plus, AWS, maybe Azure, you know, or let's say cybersecurity. You know, TIA has a few IT certifications. Let me go. I think they have 3 based on that. They're like, that's just not how it works. Whoever told you that bullshit, they're fucking wrong. You have to do it the smart way. What's the smart way? And you being able to reverse engineer the process in a way that you can get to a job that's gonna pay you $120,000 sooner than later. And that can be probably for you to be a senior cloud engineer. Okay, how can I get there? And again, if you reverse engineer the process really well, that can be based just again on getting your first job in IT that it's focused on networking. Because a lot of things, most okay, uh, that you go based on cybersecurity, cloud engineer, DevOps, or whatever, it's focused on networking. So you once you get that, you can branch out and go after what you want. But you see, many people don't know that. They just go based on what the community says. And this is sometimes for you to really wake up. I get it. There's some YouTubers out there. They teach about hacking. They teach about virtualization. They teach about AWS, Azure, and I get that. And some of them they're really good. But why are you gonna pay attention to that when it's something that you do not need? I remember me years back, I was learning a lot and I was learning about a lot of things just because the more that I learned, the better. That's not how it works in IT based on everything that we have out there. You have to learn the things that will allow you for you to go from point A to point B, and you need to know exactly what that is. If not, you're gonna waste a ton of time, a ton of it, and doing things that you're not supposed to. Me, 3 months, no, about 4 months, almost close to 4 months. I focused totally, and that was about 3 years ago. I was working on this project, Office, with Microsoft Office 365. So I was the lead engineer on this project, and there were two consultants that the company hired from Microsoft to do all this fucking migration. And that was I was the engineer assigned to the project, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna and that the Microsoft engineers consultants will be on that project for about, I don't remember, it was 6 weeks or 6, 8 weeks, but it was at least 6 weeks. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be working with them every fucking day, and I'm gonna be working on this project. So you know what? Might as well get my two certifications. My Microsoft admin, I think it was O365. There were two exams, and I took both. I ended up asking a lot of questions. Most of what I ended up learning from there, because that's how they implement everything. Most of it was through PowerShell commands. So I fucking ended up learning a lot of shit. But eventually, I never ended up using them. So it was like almost 4 months that I dedicated a lot more than I had to for me to get certified and all of that, thinking that will be something that I wanted to. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I never end up using that in a way to take advantage of it, when I can probably use that to the other things that I needed in order for me to move up, or in order for me to be able to get more value based on that next thing that I wanted to do. And that's how many people are. Exactly, that's how many people are. Okay. Now, let's see. I'm going through some of your comments, guys. So I'm reading your comments. I'm just taking the ones that I think it's worth and me answering those questions. Okay, so, but isn't a network class enough networking to get you into cybersecurity? Really? Do you even know what the hell is cybersecurity? Like, really, do you even know what that is? You think someone is gonna hire you for even an entry-level job, even a very low entry-level job cybersecurity position, because you know what the hell is a fucking switch, a router, because you know what's a cable, because you know what's a firewall, but you have no fucking idea probably on how those connect, work, configure, and all of that. But you want someone to hire you to, like, come on, like, really? You see, that's what people get wrong. Sometimes you really have to question what you're doing, because probably what you're doing right now, it's not gonna get you what you want. But many people don't question it. They just go based on what other people are doing. Everyone is getting their security class for cybersecurity. That means I have to too? Okay, let me go and do that. And then I ask, why are you getting your security class? Oh, because I want to get into cybersecurity. Okay, I get that. You told me that, but why are you getting your security class? What? Because well, everyone, like, really, just because everyone tells you to do that one thing, you don't question it, that's the right thing for you to do? By any chance, did you ever reach out to, not one, about 2, 3 people that already have cybersecurity jobs? They've been doing that for probably 2, 3 years, and ask, what will be the best thing for me to do? That way they give you some type of advice. And obviously you want advice, not the same advice, different points of view for you to come up with your own. Oh, it's not that you don't think, and you want people to think of you, for you, right? Like really, like come on, like come on, right? Let's see. You have to get a master's degree for cybersecurity. Oh my God. Okay, you go and do that, mind blown. Please go and do that. Okay, go and spend 20, 40, $60,000. You go and do that. That's good for you. Okay. That's good for you. You know, I have a student. I don't know if I don't even want to mention, but I have a few students. None of them have a fucking bachelor's degree, by the way. None of those four students that I'm thinking of have a bachelor's degree in IT. None of them. Okay. Oh, well, the fifth that I'm thinking, yes, he has a bachelor's degree. But all four are earning more than $120,000. Now, who says Raul Mendez? He has to be joking about what? Talk to me. Uh, let's see. It's not okay to be secure unless I have no plastic people alive and told this is like a person incredible. So, Jerry. So, Jerry, do you have a job right now in IT? Raul needed a master's. Yeah, you don't need a master's. Maybe he just want to put some information here, but no. Yeah, maybe he just want to put his opinion, but I probably think he's not. No, I don't have a job. Holy shit! So Jerry, you do not have a job in IT? Like really, bro? Come on. So you have your Nebro Plus, your Security Plus, you have that other fucking CompTIA shit, and you don't have a job in IT, bro. How? Jerry, please be honest with me. When did you decided to start your IT career? When you're like, okay, I'm gonna study. How long did you end up starting the process to get, probably in this case, your Nebro Plus? But I think that was probably the first one that you got. I mean, how long ago? And how did you don't have a job with all those certifications? You see, IT certifications will not get you that far. I'm telling you, there is so much. There is so many other things, man. There's some other things that you need. Are CompTIA cert employable? Yes, if you want to get a fucking help desk position, go and do that. You know, might as well go work in Amazon. You know, last time I checked, they're paying $19, $21 to work in Amazon, you know, and the warehouse. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, some places also they're paying about $15, $17 an hour. And it has nothing to do with IT. Just might as well go and get those jobs, because that's exactly what you're gonna fucking get with a plus. Something is gonna pay you 15, 17, $20 an hour. You know, I'm fixing fucking computers and having the other user. Oh, yes, can I help you? Yes, I forgot my password. Oh, yeah, let me reset your password for you. Okay. Yes, I cannot print. Oh, let me check why you cannot print. Oh, now you can print. The queue was like jamming. So now I clear the queue. So now, like, what value has in that? Like, really? Like, come on. Jesus. I don't have the certs yet. I'm going to get it. But I just have a plan. No, you don't do that, Jerry. You do not fucking do that, man. You don't do that. You don't go. Come, Tia. Out. Like, you don't get none of those dumb certifications. And I have some of them here with me because I end up getting three. Yeah, but that was because I didn't know any better. Okay, so that's my excuse. I didn't have someone to tell me how to do things better. And this is one thing that I want to imply to you guys. Okay. And please listen to this. Okay. Please listen to this. It took me about 12, 13 years to figure this out, for me to finally figure that out, right? About 12 years in my career. And for me to be able to get the results and the opportunities that I'm able to access to. And now that I know and I teach it to some of my students, they were able to do that, some of them in 2, no more than 3 years. So what it took me fucking 12 years to figure this out, now that I know it and I give it back to them, 2, 3 years. And some of my students, okay, are earning more than me based on having one full-time in IT. So if I go based on my full-time in IT that I have, right? And then I go on 4 of my, I'm thinking about 4 of my students. if they take that one, because some of them have 2 jobs, but they only take 1 job, full-time job in IT, those 4 students are earning more than me. And some of them took about 2.5 years. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. So when you come to me and because I've been there, you cannot bullshit me. This is why I'm so passionate about it, because I've been inside out. I interview like so many people, in the last probably 5 years. And that means people just like you, recruiters, managers, executives, directors, like so many people about how to play this fucking game. And a lot of it, of what I know, what I found out, it was not because I'm a fucking genius, but because I found that through them, things that I will never thought of, things that I will never be able to find online. Not even need to think about finding those things. But when you connect with the right people, when you ask the right questions, you get some insights, information, they're mind blowing. That makes the entire difference, because now you know how to play the fucking game to win. In this case, for you to get the job that you want. You know? So what other questions do you have, guys? Wait, I need to ask this. Are you saying I need a CCNA to work in cybersecurity? Really, Jerry? Are you joking with me right now? Like, you get the CCNA, right? Yeah, because once again, if you get the CCNA doing the wrong way, not you don't focus on something and skills, not IT skills, other high-paid skills that are related to storytelling, the marketing, communication, persuasion, and all of that. If you don't know how to do that, it's gonna be difficult for you to get a job. Just that's how it is. But yes, you get the CCNA the right way, you end up learning the other skills, and then you get your first job in IT. Your first job in IT, more likely it will be not related to cybersecurity. It will be something that's an admin position, network admin, system admin, network analyst, a NAC engineer, something along those lines. And you'll be on that job for about 6 months, and then you can branch out to a cybersecurity position. That's how it is. That's how it works. Now, Sandy, certifications help you for people to reach out to you. That's it. But this is a problem. Many people think that the more IT certifications I have, the better. They're gonna look at me like I know more than most people. They're gonna look at me like I have a better. You're gonna think you're gonna have better chances. But once again, many of the recruiters reaching out to you, some of the managers, some of the engineers that are looking into your resume, some of them right away can tell based on the experience or certifications you have that you're full of bullshit. That you end up, yeah, probably you end up going through some Udemy videos, but then at the end of the day, you end up memorizing the questions to pass the test. So you didn't even took the time to learn the topics. You just kind of went through some of them. You may have some of an idea, but then you end up buying the questions of that one exam, memorize the questions over the weekend, and you end up taking the test. And most people know that. So not because you have 3-5 IT certifications, that means they're like, oh, we need to get this guy or we need to get this girl. That's not how it works. Yeah, certifications can allow you for people to reach out to you. But if you don't know how to effectively communicate, you're done. That's it. You are fucking done. People can come up to me and say, Jorge, I've been watching your videos. And I listened, I got my CCNA and I got my CCNP. And I have now a job in IT, but I'm looking for my next one. That's the reason why I got my CCNA and my CCNP. You advised to do that, so I end up doing that. And it's been 2 months. I applied to many jobs. Some of them called me back to go through the job interview process. But at the end of the day, they haven't called me back to offer the job. So I don't know what else to do. I'm like, wait a minute. First, I never had a conversation with you saying that if you get that CCNA and CCNP, you're gonna get a job. I don't know where you get that from. That helps. That's something that you have to do, but that's just one of many things you have to do, and you're only focusing on that one thing, and then probably you more likely end up doing it the wrong way because you may not have any idea on how to answer like very few questions. Like probably if I ask you right now, can you tell me the difference between a layer 2 switch compared to a layer 3 switch? What will you say? And I know probably you're thinking, I know what I'm going to say. Layer 2 switches, obviously, they work on the layer 2 of the SMRO, the data link layer. They're all about NAC addresses, not IP addresses, obviously, hexadecimal numbers, all about frames, blah, 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 all this bullshit. Oh, now compared to layer 3 switches, obviously the big difference is they do routing when you go on the layer 3 switch and do the IP routing command, and then you're going to be blah, blah, all this bullshit. And then you think you have a good answer, right? You think, oh, I got this answer right, because I provided that information. Like, no, you didn't, because the other 5 people, maybe the other 10 people they're going to interview, they're going to fucking say the same shit that you said. So they're not going to fucking remember you. So when you answer that question, you couldn't answer that question in a way for them to like you. And if they don't like you, you don't get the job. Because if they don't like you, they're not going to be able to future pace themselves to see that that you can work with them and their team. And on top of that, they may think of you, yeah, that person answered all the questions. That person knows. Yes. But can that person get the job done? Oh, I don't know. And because you were unable to position yourself for them to think of you that you can get the job done, that's the reason why you don't get the job. That's the reason they don't call out your name. Even though you answer all the 5-7 questions they ask you with the definition, obviously. Right? So that's how it works, guys. Like, really, this is why, guys, and I'm doing this calls because if you, right, like if you like, okay, I'm ready, take the next step with me. And if not, that's fine. At least I give you so much information for you to think about and some of the exercises that I've been giving you for you to do. Because once again, I'm not here to tell you. And that's the link, guys, if you want to take a look at it, okay? Like if you want to take a look at it on the coaching program, that way you work with me directly. And if not, that's fine. I give you a ton of information for you to think about, because obviously I like to work with people that want to get things sooner than later. The other day, some guy reach out to me and says, Jorge, so I watched one of your videos. You're basically saying that the only way for me to get to a job that's going to pay me like one of your students, $150,000 is to sign up with you. I'm like, no, because I don't know you. You can probably get it done, right? If you're like dedicated, if you have the willing to make it happen, yeah, you eventually get there. The difference with me, you get there sooner than later. So how bad you want that income? How bad you want that lifestyle? Do you want to have the money, and pay the bills on time, or have more experiences to offer for yourself, for your family in the next 3 years from the next year? That's a difference. That really comes down to that. And you wanted it sooner than later, right? It's like I pay money, a lot of money. I've been paying that for the last 5 years now. On coaches, mentors. And I do that because they know something that I don't know. And I don't want to figure that out because I don't have time to figure shit out. I want someone that already has the results I have to guide me through exactly what I need to focus on. And that's a lot of what helped me to get here. Some of the exercises they give me allow me to think the way I'm thinking, for me to be able to approach the things that the way that I approach things, the way that gets me results. I was able to accomplish so many things this year. And this is something that I shared last night with those of you that were joining the call. I went through this process that for many people maybe, yeah, it sounds good. If I do that, yeah, that makes sense, but you're not gonna do those exercises. But let's say that you end up paying someone $1,000, right? To sit down with you for just an hour and walk you through those exercises. And you're not gonna get up until those exercises are done. And you're gonna have to do them because you end up paying $1,000, right? You're gonna be able to really take it and see that difference and compare me just giving you that information for free, because you're not gonna do it. And that's one of the things that allowed me to be able to get the results I was able to the last 3 years, and a lot more like this fucking year. And the way that I'm going to approach next year, that same process and how I'm going to be able to accomplish a lot more compared to this year is what I shared with you last night. Exactly that process. That's exactly what I told you. This is what's going to make a difference for you. Because once again, you deserve better for yourself and for your family. Right? That's the thing. For you to think about, like, who deserves a better you? Who? On top of you? Your mom? Your dad? Your kids? You have any? Right? And again, it's for you to ask, like, what's costing you right now for you not to have that high paying job in IT? For you to be able to become the next version of yourself. So this is not just about IT. It's about for you to become to the for you to level up to the next version of yourself. That's gonna allow you for you to have the life that you want. Because that life that I'm living right now, that's no way that the person I was 5 years ago will be able to achieve that. It's just impossible. That's no way. So many things that I have to work on, and many are the exercises that allow you to think in a certain way. Because many times you go through life without having that level of awareness all the time for you to make the right decisions and for you to do the things that you have to do. Because for all of you, this is for all of you. And really think about this, okay? What things, like really, what things you knew you had to do this year and you knew that you had to do because you knew how to do them, but you still end up not doing them, even though you knew better? And I know many of you know what you need to do. Probably, maybe some of that may be wrong, but let's say that you know better, right, for next year. But what's gonna guarantee that you're gonna be able to do those things that you know you have to do? You end up not doing them this year. Oscar next year is different. Why it's different? That same person that you were this year, if you think is gonna take on 2022 and be a difference, that's you being crazy. Like really? It's just not gonna happen. So this is why everything starts from inside out. You have to work on yourself first, and then go and get what you need. And yeah, that may be one or maybe two IT certifications. But if you don't have a plan on how to get to that final destination based on your IT career, like what's the job that you want? Like really, what's that job that you want? You know, I'm telling you, not that many people do that. Let me, well, no, I shouldn't do that. Well, no, I'm gonna show you something. Let me see if, because I don't want to show the number. Okay. Um, this is one of my top students. So let me just see, because I want to show you what he sent me not too long ago. But I just want to make sure that it doesn't show anything personal. Give me a second, guys. Dun, 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 dun. No. Let's see this one. No, I don't have it with me. I wanted to show you something based on how much they're getting paid and how they went through the process, but probably next time. So what other questions, guys, you have? Because I only have 5 minutes left because I have 2 calls with a few. You see, I do one-on-one calls with my students. So I have 2 right now. Come on. I told you to take it out. Okay. It's an Amazon Pro technician. You see right there, you saying technician. No bueno, man. No bueno. So James, I have a CCNA and I work in desktop support. James, you see, going after the CCNP may not help you. Like really, it may not help you. Why? Because you may not know even how to answer a very easy question on the CCNA, because probably you end up getting the CCNA the wrong way. You didn't study that properly. Okay. So you may have to, but there are other things you have to learn, James. Don't think that because, okay, Jorge said I need my CCNP, that means once I get it, I have a job as a network engineer. It's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. You need a lot more things in order for you to do that. So again, don't only think about that. So are you saying help desk sucks? Yes, big time. Big time. It's like if you, and really I'm gonna put it like a very easy, right? You go and study some program for you to become a mechanic, right? And you end up getting your diploma or whatever they give you to become a mechanic, right? And then you end up getting an entry level job based on what's an entry level job, and that job is for me to change the tires of the fucking car and to change the oil of the car, because it's an entry level job, right? I want to be a mechanic, be able to set up the motor, take it out in and put all these fucking nice things. But because I'm new, I have to start somewhere. So I found this job, and the job is for me to change tires and change oil. You can work on that job for 3 years. You are not becoming any value to the market because no one is going to pay you more because you've been working on that for 3 years. That's not payable. You work at McDonald's, they're not going to pay you like $30 just because you're taking a fucking order when you're pushing buttons, even though you're doing that for fucking 10 years. You need to become value based on the need of the market, and you need to figure that out and how to package that in a way for people to think of you that you can get that job done based on what they're looking for, based on what they want, and in a way that they're gonna like you and trust you. I give you the answer right there. And if you don't know how to do that, you're gonna have very, very difficulties and you being able to get the fucking job. So James, this guy won't give us any real answers. Just says no to. What do you mean no to everything? What answers? Like, why will your race affect how well you? Yes, doesn't matter. You are Spanish. You know, I'm Hispanic. I'm Hispanic too, man. What the hell? Don't go bad with Hispanic, man. I'm Hispanic too. And my English right now, probably you're thinking, bro, like you really have a fucking broken English. And that's me now. Imagine 10 years ago, it was really bad. But it didn't matter. When people see that value and you know how to do that, they give you that job. You see, that's nah. I'm going through the comments. You see, that's a belief you have, man. Oh, I'm Hispanic and blah blah blah. I'm not gonna get my hand paid. That's just BS. Some of you know the story, and I'm gonna start next year bringing some of the students to share their story. But I have a 19-year-old, got out of high school this year, and he's getting paid $28 an hour. He's 19 and he has an IT support engineer position. IT support, and he's Hispanic, by the way. And he just got out of high school. $28 an hour. It took him 3 months to do that. Went through my process. He was on it. Every time he finished something, what's next? Okay, let's do this, focus on this, continue on this macho, go through these videos this way, do those exercises this way. And he ended up getting a job, $27 or $20 an hour. Not an entry-level job. It's a good job. He's going to work with some of the admins along the line. And again, he's fucking, I don't know if he's 18 or 19. Again, he just got out of high school this year, a few months ago. I'm telling you, I have to go, guys, because I do have the call, okay? For those of you that want to take a look at that, just go there, right? And let's take your career live, to the next level. Because once again, you know what's costing you, and you're not being able to get to a high-paying job in IT. And I'm telling you, there are people getting high-paying jobs in IT, so why not you? And maybe, again, that's a story going through it right now. Oh, it's because I need this, or this is missing. Or I have to wait for that or for this. You see, that's why you're not taking any action, because you think you need something else that you probably don't need. And it's proven. People getting jobs left and right when they know what to do within months, not fucking years. Without a degree, without a fucking bachelor's degree. So once again, it shouldn't stop you. Regardless of what happened before, you need to start looking go through your IT career, your personal life through other view next year. A new you, again, So I have to go, guys. I have to go. Take care. I'm gonna do another live tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go on notifications. That way you're able to. And you see, I don't know why tomorrow the video will be a lot better. I don't know why it's looking at that way. Okay. Again, happy New Year, guys. But tomorrow, once again, I'm gonna go to another call, guys, with you. Okay. So that's all I have, guys. So take care, and I will talk to you tomorrow.